Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to the Average Joe Dividends YouTube channel. In this video, this is my Thursday buy video, my second buy that I do of every week. In the first part of the week on Mondays, what I do is I deposit $100 and I let Auto Invest do the picking for me. What I mean by that is on M1, I use Auto Invest as part of automation, and then where that money goes depends on what portion of the portfolio is underweighted. And then once it levels out, like the ETFs portion slice of my portfolio, it's going to go to the 12 more dividends and so on. But on Thursdays, what I do is I also deposit $100, but what I do is I select 5 different stocks and I put $20 into each of those investments. So these are my picks. And of course, what I'm doing is not investment advice. And what I'll show you after the buys is I'll show you what that's going to do to my dividend income. And we'll look at historicals as well with the portfolio. So what we're looking at right now, this is my M1 taxable stock brokerage account, my Average Joe Dividends account, and we can see what the current balance is at. It's at 282,549.63, and this is live, and we can see just from yesterday we were at an all-time high at 283,683. So day to day, you don't know what the stock market is going to do, let alone over the last week, month, or next week, month. 3 months or next year. You just don't know. What I believe in is kind of dollar cost averaging into quality companies as well as ETFs too. We'll get more into that. But you can see over the last day, we're in a down day, and that's okay. So technically buying things on sale. So let's zoom out a little bit. We'll see how the portfolio is doing over the last week. And we can see though we're up over the last week with that big high there on the 19th. We'll look at the last month. We're up 1.98%. And we'll look at last 3 months. We're up 2.35. Look at the last year. And you can see it's pretty much up and to the right with a money weighted return of 17.27%. We add in dividends, it's at 21.9%. So this portfolio is pretty much doing what I expect it to do, especially from the dividends portion of it too. You can see the dividends paid over the last year, $11,702 even. So let's go into the activity log and we'll see what my 5 selections were. If you're curious to see what's in this portfolio, I'll leave a link below to my M1 pies. You can also see the allocation I have for each of the positions. So we'll get into the buys here. Again, 5 of them, I put $20 into each of those. I'm going to click on each of these to show you the fractional shares that were purchased, and I'll show you that even fractional shares do make a difference in adding to your portfolio as well as your dividend income. So for Pepsi, the $20 that bought 0.13703 of a share of Pepsi. And I've been buying quite a bit of Pepsi lately because it's been down. And then Illinois Toolworks, this is kind of a lesser known position, but this one's been a good one for me, good stock appreciation. And they seem to increase their dividend year over year about that 7-8%. So Illinois Toolworks, I bought 0.07578 of a share with that $20. Then next up, Waste Management. They had a nice bit of news with their dividend increase. They're increasing their dividend for the next payout by 10%. So I picked Waste Management. This one's just kind of it's a boring investment where it just seems to go up. Good stock appreciation with good stock growth. Like I said, that 10% dividend increase. So $20 that bought 0.08815 of Waste Management. Then next up, Coca-Cola. Coca-Cola's been doing quite well recently, and they had some good news, I think, with some of their more healthier drinks. So there was some good news for Coca-Cola, and they're also going to be announcing a dividend increase. I think they're going to do their standard 5% probably for KO. We'll see. That should be announced here in the next couple days. But the $20 that bought 0.28688 of a share of Coca-Cola. And Union Pacific, $20. So that added 0.08105 of a share of Union Pacific. So before we update my tracking sheet, we'll go to it, but I'm going to pull data from this. We're going to go back to M1 a little bit to pull some data, but I'll walk you through my tracking sheet here. It tracks the 52 different positions that are in this taxable brokerage account. And the taxable brokerage account, this is about 15% of my total net worth. By having a nice foundation of ETFs, we'll get more into that in a little bit. It gives me the confidence to actually do some investing in individual positions, even though in this portfolio, the majority is in index, like a SCHD, which is a good dividend paying index, and then BST, that's for covered calls, and it's diversified. It's not just in one company. So both of these have done pretty well for me, but BST is actually it's done better. But again, if you're curious to see what's in this portfolio, the 50 different individual positions, you can see what they are with the link below. And we're going to grab data here in a little bit, but this sheet shows everything that's pretty much, it shows exactly what I have in M1 with the number of shares, the cost basis, and the average cost that I've paid for each share. So for Microsoft, for example, you can see the current share price using the Google Finance function to pull that. Here's the average share price that I've purchased Microsoft at. Here's the number of shares that I own. And this uses a VLOOKUP from the M1 data tab. And we'll get into that in just a minute to show you how I update the sheet rather than type in the new number of shares for the 5 positions where I bought more fractional shares of. It's going to update the new number of shares, the average cost basis, and the average share price, or the cost basis and the share price for each of those 5 positions. It'll just do it with a copy and paste. And we can see, again, here's the cost basis, and here's my gain or loss for each position. Here's the gain or loss in a percentage. Anything above 25% will be in green. Here's the quarterly share, the dividends per share that each of these is paying out. SCHD is in purple because it is variable by each quarter. And then O Realty and BST, these are monthly payers for me, so I have those in blue. Here's the current yield. If I were to buy more shares of Verizon, for example, here's the current yield for Verizon. Here's the yield on my cost for each position. Here's the pay date. Everything on this sheet is arranged right now by the pay date. So you can see some of these older dates are going to get new dates soon, like Microsoft will announce a new dividend. It'll be approximately plus 3 months, so approximately March 13th, right around there. And it'll go down then over here to the middle of March and pay me all over again. And that's what these do, is they pay me and then they keep paying me every 3 months or every month in the case of O and BST here in the blues. And then we can see here's the next dividend, and the dividend, here's the actual dividend, and this is in February. The dividends I've actually received, and then here's the next dividend. And the reason why Verizon is higher is because I took that 6086 and I bought more fractional, actually bought more than a full share of Verizon, because the current share price of Verizon is just over $40. It's at $42.22. So every time I get paid a dividend from Verizon, it's paying me it's buying me approximately a share and a half of Verizon just by dripping that dividend rather than taking it in cash. And then you can see here's the total dividends that have been paid out for each position. Counting that up, you can see like BST, that's paid me over $10,000 in dividends since I've held it. But let's take a look at the dividends that paid me so far in the month of February. 157.43, but the next dividend is going to be higher, and it's going to go even higher once we update the sheet. So the next dividend, 159.18. This is going to go up because what we're doing, the $100 deposit bought more fractional shares, but it's going to increase actually the average monthly dividend. We won't touch these because we don't have a dividend drip in here, and we didn't buy any shares or fractional shares of these positions. Where I did buy, you can see the Coca-Cola, I put in the current next dividend. We're going to see it go up over here, and let's find the next one here, the next four. And right here we can see Waste Management, Union Pacific, Pepsi. We'll get close to that $20 mark with Pepsi. And then Illinois Toolworks. So we're also going to see over on the cash flow average, monthly, quarterly, and annual, these will go up as well. So let's go ahead and grab the data from M1. And what I do is I go to my holdings tab and I grab everything from the name column and just select all these. And again, I'll leave a link below so you can see what's all in this portfolio and do a copy. And then we're going to go back to my Google Docs spreadsheet, and I'll leave a link for this spreadsheet as well. You're welcome to use it. Go to the M1 data tab. It's going to automatically change the number of shares, the cost basis, and average share price that I purchased at for each of these positions automatically just by doing a pay special here. And remember, it uses VLOOKUPs over on the dividend portfolio tab to pull those new numbers for the number of shares and average share price and cost basis for each of those 5 positions where I bought more fractional shares in. So we'll see the changes. We'll read them off one by one. And we'll look at the monthly, quarterly, and annual dividends as well. So Coca-Cola now, this will be in March 17th approximately. And we're moving from 10.90 now to 11.03. So up above $11 now for Coca-Cola. And we'll find the next 4, which are down here. And then so Waste Management is moving from $8.59 to $8.66, getting closer to that $10 mark. Any of the dividends that are above $10 will be in green. And then Union Pacific from $5.94 to $6.05. And then Pepsi will be above that $20 mark from $19.85 now to $20.03. And then next one, Illinois Toolworks, from $8.87 to $8.98. And we'll take a look at the change in the monthly cash flow average, monthly, quarterly, and annual. And moving from $1,042.85 to $1,043.05. And then quarterly is moving from $31.28.55 to $31.29.15. And then the annual is moving from $12.514.20 to $12.516.60. So let's move on over to the monthly average dividend tracking tab. We're going to put that $1,043.05 there. And this is where I track any events where I do a buy, a sell, a dividend drip, or there's a dividend increase announced. That affects the cash flow of this portfolio. So we're going to take this number again, $1,043.05, to the bottom. And of course, the event was a $100 deposit. .05, oops. Hold on one second. Let's go back. Oops, 1043.05. We'll just delete that. There we go. And so we can see here with the $100 deposit, it added 20 cents of additional monthly income. And you hear that, you're like, wow, great. Added a whole 20 cents of dividend income. But look at it this way, though. It was only a $100 deposit. And it's not just dividends. This portfolio is also growing in share appreciation of portfolio, and we'll get into that a little bit to show how that's gone up over the years as well. But you can see, though, every little event matters, and it all adds up to real money. And there's also another event we're going to put in here as well. And you can see the other line I added in, which is O Realty had a 1.5% dividend increase. So let's go back over to the dividend portfolio tab, and we're going to see the result of that. But the reason I'm going here is I have a couple links here that I kind of go to a lot at Seeking Alpha as well as dividendinvestor.com. So let's go to Seeking Alpha, And we'll pull up O and we'll pull up that news, and we're going to update my sheet with the new dividend, and we'll see how that affects the dividend income. I'm not going to put the new date in there yet because uh, we're still in February. It's paid after I close things out for February. Then I put in the new um, date for O Realty or Realty Income. So here's the news: Realty Income raised their dividend by 1.5%. That was a nice pop up by Seeking Alpha there. So we're moving from 0.264, so 26.4 cents to 26.8 cents. So really, it's not even a full cent. But I'll even show you that uh, moves like this, it will move the needle a little bit. And also, Realty Income, they like to raise their dividend, I think, quarterly. It's multiple times per year. So we're going to change the 0.264 to 0.268. So we'll find O Realty in my sheet, which is right here, and then we'll go to that dividends, which we have right here. And let's scroll over though, because we're going to see this change. So here is the last dividend that was paid on the 15th, the 1338. Here is what the next dividend would be, and this is a result of the dividend drip. But let's take a look and see what it's going to be now at 0.268. And we'll see we're going to move from 1345 to 1365. So it added 20 cents essentially per month, and you can see how that's going up from the last one there. So nearly 30 cents moving up from the last month. So the dividend drips, dividend increases, things like that, or when I'm buying additional fractional shares of O, and this applies to other stocks as well, it drives up the next dividend. But this change, moving up now to 1365 for the next dividend, it's changed everything. Now we're at 1043 and a quarter. So let's go put that over there. 1043.25. So this is interesting here. Let's take a look at this. There's two events. So one of them required me to put $100 into the accounts to add 20 cents more of additional monthly income. So this is additional every single month going forward. It's not a one-time thing. I know I keep saying that like a broken record, but that's very important though. But look at this though. I didn't put anything in, not a dime, and it added the same amount of dividend income just by increasing their dividend by 1.5%, a modest increase. So we can see that just today I've added an additional 40 cents, and that's just in one day in this 1 month. So let's take a look at a quick count up of the events alone in February 2025. So I've added an additional $6.27. That's real money to be receiving that additional every single month going forward. So let's go on to the dividend tracker tab, and here I track the dividend portfolio value starting in 2021 when I started doing these videos, and I rounded to the nearest $100 on the last day of the month. You can see here is where I was at for January 2021. Let's fast forward to today and see where we're at. We're at still all-time highs. We're at 282,600. Here are the dividends received so far. And you can see like a big month. Look at December. You can see what happens with this portfolio is, and this is the reason why I do an average monthly dividend, is because this portfolio doesn't pay a even dividend every single month. It pays a larger dividend on the last month of each quarter, and the last month of each quarter is every March, June, September, and December. And so the first and second months here, so January, February are going to be small payouts. They're going to be in the 600s, while March, I'm estimating, is going to be over 1,500. It's going to probably be, at least 16, close to 17. We'll see what it's going to be, but it's going to definitely be more than what it was last year at 1446. And here is the average monthly dividend. What I do is I take the quarterly, and how the quarterly is calculated is it is the the next dividend for each of these, I add them up, and I have to add in O and BST in 2 more times because it only represents them in 1 month. And we can see that math right here. That's 860 times 2. And that's what's going on here in the blue is I have to take BST and O, add them together, and then I have to take that 519.62, add it in 2 more times back into the quarterly. Then what I do is I take the quarterly and divide it by 3, and that gives me the average monthly. So that's kind of the logic behind that. And we go over, here's the, remember the 627 on the monthly average dividend tracking tab. That's right here with the monthly increase. And that's a month over month gain in income of 0.61%. We can see the annual dividends are now at 12,519.05. So we had 2 events, the $100 deposit and the O 1.5% dividend increase. And I've increased the annual dividends of the portfolio just in the month of February by 75.29, and we're not done yet. Here's a $100 deposit. So I put in so far $600 of deposits into the portfolio for the month of February. So to close out this video, let's go to my total net worth statement. Like I said before, the dividend portfolio here on M1, this is 15% of my current net worth. And I'll show you what the other 85% is in. And I have accounts over Vanguard. I have an IRA, a small Roth, a taxable brokerage account, and right now the total value over there sitting is at $489. And then here's my current employer 401k and a Fidelity S&P index fund at 105. So you can see right here, this is all just, these are ETFs, boring ETFs or mutual funds, because VTSAX, that's a mutual fund. And here I have an IRA over at M1, and this is my employment pretty much from 1996 to 2019. That's valued at $725K. Again, in boring ETFs. And then here is the dividend portfolio. On that line, here's my 1-year emergency fund. Here is my 6-month emergency fund over at Synchrony. And then here's 2 months of expenses sitting over at Capital One. And here's my home value. And then here's the liabilities I have. Here's the current credit card balance I have. I do not carry a balance. I pay it off before it is due, so I do not accrue interest. And here is the remainder on my mortgage. Just made a payment this morning actually to kind of lower it. So if you look at the last video I did, I was at 175 and change. And approximately every time I do a mortgage payment, it's taking approximately $1,000 off of the principal. Here's my total net worth. I was at 1.84 in some change yesterday, but we've gone down today, and that's okay. But still pretty much at all-time highs in total net worth. And here is the breakdown in stocks, home equity, in cash, and here is like my IRA 401k. So a 401k millionaire could be considered what they call Coast Fi if you follow that. And then here's after tax, so I can kind of put my hands onto without penalty. Here's the breakdown in US and international. And you can see over here I have the average monthly dividend for all sources. And I know a lot of people don't even look at their IRAs and 401ks as dividend sources, but most of your investments are likely paying a dividend. So what I've done is I've put the average monthly dividend for each of these positions based upon number of shares and based on the 2024 total dividend, and then I'm able to derive my total dividends including interest from savings. And take a look at this. Here's what the average monthly dividend is from all sources. This is what I could technically draw once I'm 59.5 without selling a single share of anything, just by drawing dividends and then interest from cash. And we can see my net worth here, how it's grown over time. You can see here I was, this is not too long ago, November 2022, I was under 1.3 million. You can see here, and I've added quite a bit. Let's just take a look and see how much has gone up, my net worth that is, from that time period. Let's subtract this out right here. So I've added over $500,000 in net worth just by doing what I'm doing in these videos, which is to invest, to continue investing in an IRA, in my 401k, and reinvesting those dividends where I go as well. And just by doing some of these buys and building up this portfolio as well, I haven't had really any huge money makers. Aside from Nvidia has done well. That's just a single position. It's not like I've made millions off of it. It's gone up quite nicely, but we're talking a few $1,000s. Nothing life changing here. So total Nvidia is really the biggest one as far as like an individual position. The rest have been gains in index funds like SCHD and other places. So that is all I wanted to kind of show with that. Nothing, no windfalls of a lottery winnings, no inheritance. I haven't inherited a dime, nothing. Just pretty much started from zero. One of these days I'll do a video kind of explaining, my modest beginnings in a middle class family, and maybe explain some of the financial lessons that I learned, and just the low paying jobs that I started with. I was in a position when I first started I was probably like 19 years old, 20, where I was in a position where I couldn't pay rent. And so I was donating plasma just to pay my bills, to help pay my bills. It was either that or don't eat, because my first priority was to have a roof over my head to pay for rent. But I was in that position when I was younger, and I didn't go to Ivy League school either. I just went to a community college, got an associate's degree, and pretty much had my employer pay for it, and just kind of worked my way up. And I'm not a super high earner either, so you can see from I show my W-2 here, and this is net. It's net of taking out 401k, and also for insurance, taxes, things like that. This is the actual dollars that I get, and you can see the gaps that I have every single month. Of course, the gap doesn't include some of the things I do, like I'm trying to think, like just any extra money from like YouTube. I make hardly anything off of YouTube. I'm averaging probably $30-$40 a month my YouTube income, and I'm fine with that because I'm not trying to live off of the income. I'm not trying to sell you guys anything. I don't want to sell merch or anything like that. I don't want to do a Patreon or any stuff like that, or buy me a coffee. No, I want you guys to take that money and invest it into yourselves. So that's all I had to show you guys for this video. Let's go back and I'll show you the buys real quick. But please leave a like on this video just because of the transparency alone. And I bring you guys this content. Like the video, share the video, and also subscribe so you don't miss future videos. But my buys were Pepsi, Illinois Toolworks, Waste Management, Coca-Cola, and Union Pacific. Let me know in the comments below what you are buying this week, or what you think of these buys. Let me know if you think they're good buys, bad buys, whatever. It's just let me know. So everyone, I hope you have a great rest of your week, and everybody take care.